Nancy Pelosi was asked to respond to the FBI raiding Mar-a-Lago, and it's funny to me to watch this woman because it doesn't matter how despicable she is. It doesn't matter how evil she is, how often she lies. The fact that she almost started a third world war by visiting Taiwan, angering the Chinese communists, not because she stands with Taiwan, not because she's opposed to the ideology of the Chinese Communist Party, but because she wants to distract the American people, the voters, from what the Democrats have inflicted on us. Inflation, gas prices, food shortages, supply chain crises, violence across the nation, a border that's simply teeming with cartels and possibly terrorists. And when she was asked about President Trump, this is what she said.
Well, I, as others, learned on my phone that had happened, so I don't know very much about it. But again, I'm sure that information will be revealed, and when it does, we'll find out what they were looking for. It seems to have something to do with presidential documents, but I really am not in a position to talk about it because all I know is what's in the public domain.
Does it strike you as a pretty serious step for the Justice Department to take?
Yes, I think it does. I was questioning it because all I saw on my phone was that Donald Trump said that the visit took place and described it in pretty harsh terms. It would be interesting to find out exactly what the warrant was in order to have, what the order was to have a search warrant and for what purpose. But again, we can only speculate.
And before we leave it, I just want to mention House Republican leader, your counterpart, Kevin McCarthy, put out a statement responding to the search. And he said, in part, when Republicans take back the House, we will conduct immediate oversight of this Justice Department. Attorney General Garland, preserve your documents and clear your calendar. Do you have a response?
Well, first of all, I think the Democrats are going to win the House. We've been prepared for it for a long time. And now with what's happening with Roe v. Wade and the legislation that we are passing, I think that whatever the leader is saying is probably idle. But nonetheless, we believe in the rule of law, and that's what our country is about. And no person is above the law, not even the President of the United States, not even a former President of the United States.
My favorite part of that video is actually halfway through when she's describing the raid, but she won't use the word raid, and she can't think of another accurately descriptive word for what happened. So she goes, the visit, and her voice goes up at the end of visit, like you would do if you were asking a question, putting a question mark on that word. She had a hard time repeating the party narrative because she knows, just like you know, just like I know, because you guys, we're not stupid. We can see what we see with our eyes. We know a raid when we see a raid. Nancy Pelosi also knows a raid when she sees a raid. But she doesn't want to say it because Simone Sanders says, guys, folks, please stop calling this a raid. Let's just call it a visit. A little tea party, if you will. That's what it was. No one is above the law. So the best response to this narrative that the left is propagating, claiming that no one is above the law, comes from, I don't even know who this guy is, but I saw this on Twitter. His name is Matthew Peterson. He posts, guys, look, no one is above the law, okay? Except the Bidens, the Clintons, millions of illegal immigrants, domestic terrorism groups that we like, sexual abusers we don't prosecute, crazed shooters we know about beforehand, every government employee who was on our side, Epstein's pals, and all of our informants, operatives who encourage kidnapping of government officials and riots at the Capitol, anyone who fakes FISA applications we like, candidates who pay for lies that we can use to surveil our domestic opponents, anyone from the intelligence community who blatantly lies to the public, ... I have no idea who this guy is, but that was a brilliant tweet worth 100 retweets. I hope he got, how many retweets did he get on this? Oh, good. It went viral. 23,000 likes, 7,000 retweets. Well-deserved, because that's true. If you are Hunter Biden and you have actively betrayed your country by profiting off your father's position of power by selling access to hostile foreign nations, you're above the law. If you are Hillary Clinton and you mishandled classified information, extremely classified information, actually, and then used bleach spit and a little tiny hammer to whack that phone into smithereens so that the FBI couldn't find out exactly what our enemies are now in control of, what information the Chinese now know thanks to Hillary Clinton's insecure email server, well, you are actually above the law. If you sexually groom children for bodily mutilation, you're above the law. If you're a Democrat who burns down cities across our country in the name of Marxist lies about police-involved shootings of black people, yeah, you're above the law. Complete BS from the left when they claim no one is above the law. This isn't even a matter of hypocrisy. It's actually hierarchy, because hypocrisy, guys, we've talked about this before. Hypocrisy means that someone breaks a law knowing that they shouldn't break it, but they think that they won't get caught. Hierarchy is when people like every Democrat under the sun and every elitist who is a leftist think that the rules that apply to us don't apply to them. That they have no obligation to even try to follow the law or pretend to follow the law in hopes that they wouldn't get caught if they violated it. That's hierarchy, and that is how Pelosi is acting. That's how the entire Democratic Party is acting right now. They have no interest in living in a nation of law and order, a nation where we are governed by the rule of law.